old recommendations, and everything we talk about in today's webinar is for educational purposes only. So my name is David Kushner. I've been trading the markets for over 25 plus years. I trade stocks, I've traded options, I've traded futures, Forex, not so much anymore, but my background was I had an automotive parts business that I had when I started when I was 18 years old, had that business for 28 years, sold it in 2005, and since then I've been a full-time trader. Okay, so like most of you probably have a whole shelf full of indicators, trading systems that came with a lot of empty promises of helping you become more profitable and more consistent trader. So I know that I have a ton of about 3 or 4 hard drives full of total useless stuff that I spent a small fortune on. And I was in a webinar, just like you are with me, that Mark Sachs did. And I saw the money flow tracker system for the first time. And I quickly realized that this methodology isn't based around the same old indicators that everybody else teaches, but more based on mathematical modeling and triple and quadruple screen analysis. And I not only trade with institutional money flow, so whenever I talk about order flow or money flow, I'm only talking about institutional order flow or money flow from this point on. It's made me much more profitable and much more consistent trader, and now I'm running over a 70% win-loss rate. Okay, so the agenda for the webinar is how the money flow tracker software works, the high probability setups, the unbreakable rules to follow, how I trade breakouts and sidestep losing trades, the money flow tracker auto trader, and how to pass evaluations and become a funded trader. All right, so those who stay till the end of the webinar, it's about 45 minutes. We have a very special discount plus additional software as a quick action bonus. So why are you here? You're here because you're not getting the results you want yet. You're not here to waste time. You're not here to waste money. And you're sick of buyer's remorse, which means you're sick of buying systems, trying to make them work for you, and they just don't. So let me show you a solution. You want to hit consistent winning trades. That's what everybody wants. Be a consistent trader. You want a solid trading performance that repeats daily. And remember one thing, the markets are here for us to extract money from it every day. So if you don't trade one day, that's okay. So you need 4 things to create trading success. The first thing you need is software to provide you with a competitive edge over all other traders. The second thing is that edge needs to track the direction of money flow, institutional money flow. The third thing is etched in stone rules to follow, and this will eliminate discretion. And the fourth thing, which I believe is the most important thing, patience. Patience, patience, patience to let the trade set up. So I'm going to break down the system in detail, but let me show you a few trades that we've taken. Here's an options trade on AMC for 139%. Here's another one on GME for 188%. This was a 30-year bond trade that I took for 41 ticks. Another great trade on the euro for 56 ticks, 700 bucks. So I can show you plenty of examples of trades that I've taken, but how is that going to help you? It's not, and I'm here to help you. So it's like you have a problem making money. Otherwise, you wouldn't be here, right? Why? Because you don't have the proper tools to officially manage your trades. You overtrade, you revenge trade, you make impulsive decisions. This is the biggest pitfall most traders have. You lack consistency. You trade with indicators that lag price. You also lack a proven mathematical trade methodology, and all these things lead to blowing up trading accounts. So my commitment to you is to bring this to an end. So why do they say that 95 to 98% of traders go broke? Because they trade with the same old things that everybody else trades with: price action, MACD, Elliott wave divergence, price patterns, Fibonacci, Gann theory. You know, none of these things have any future predictive properties. And I'm not saying that the money flow tracker can predict the future, because first of all, that would be ridiculous. And second of all, it wouldn't be true. And I'm not going to tell you things that aren't true, right? So Mark Sachs has over 35 plus years in the study and the field of applied mathematics. He was a professor at Jefferson University, and after 8 long years, he engineered the software system that can radically improve your trade methodology and your trade performance. And we have over 500 traders that we trade shoulder to shoulder between our 3 trading rooms every day. Before we get started, I want to share with you my trade journal. Now, this is my trade journal. Probably 98% of these trades are money flow tracker trades. So let me go ahead and share this. So I'm going to pull up 2025. And let's just go and look at my equity curve. So here's my equity curve for 2025. Not bad. You know, it's a nice equity curve. Just the markets for the last couple of months have been so choppy and so sideways. It's been tough to make, big gains. But, we've made money in the market. Right now, we're running I'll go to the home page here, a 70% win rate with a profit factor of 2.64. Okay. Now, if I go back to, let's say, I don't know, let's go back to February. So February, we didn't trade 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 days. 5 out of 20 days, we didn't trade. What did we do in February? $10,865, right? Let's look at March. So look at March. We didn't trade 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 days. And look what we did in March. $9,400, right? So why didn't we trade those days? Because we didn't have setups and the markets were extremely choppy and low volume, and we didn't take trades, period. Bottom line, we didn't take trades because of that. So, if I pull up, let's say, my performance by day, and this is over the last 6 months, you can see that we've had some really great days, and we've had a few losing days, and our losing days are pretty much under 500 a day. So I'm often asked, why don't you trade on those days? And I'd say, because the markets are choppy, they're not trending, and these are the days that you lose money. So when you came into the room, a couple of people, I tell them, look, you came into the room, you told me that you were making money one day, you were losing money the next day, you were making a little bit of money the next day, you were losing money the next day, and at the end of the week, you weren't making any money, right? So that's what I've heard over and over and over and over and over again from people. So that's why I've taught my traders, and I call them my traders. Really, we're a good group of people that just want to make money from the market. And, so what we did was, I kind of lost my train of thought for a second. So, okay, I know what it is. So anyways, when people tell me that, they think that because they sit down in front of their computer and they have their charts up that they have to push the button and make trades. No, it's not that way. If we don't have setups, we don't take trades. Okay, we have very high probability setups, but if we don't get a setup, we can't take the trade and follow the rules. So the markets consist of many small retail traders represented by the little marbles, plus one or more large institutional trader. Well, since we already know that most retail traders lose money, why would you want to trade along with them? Okay, we want to trade along with the big whales, the institutions that are moving the market. That's who we want to trade with. So the money flow tracker software has 3 key metrics that determine money flow. The first is triple screen analysis of correlative markets using our AI program. The second is triple screen assessment of order flow. And the third is triple screen assessment of the gear. So what do I mean by triple screen assessment? It's basically meaning that we have 3 time frames in agreement. That's what it means. Triple screen assessment, 3 time frames in agreement. So the first powerful force that moves price is triple screen assessment of order flow. And yes, I know most people think about order flow are these order flow candles with the numbers on the top, the numbers on the bottom, inside, the right side, the left side, upside down, sideways, and backwards, right? You cannot make good trading decisions trying to figure out what these bars are doing, especially when the markets are moving fast. So what we did was we came up with our own order flow candles, which are super simple to read. And this is how I think about them. When you have a green outline candle, means that the delta of the candle is positive. And when you have a red outline candle, means the delta of the candle is negative. Well, I find that most people learn better when I use simple terminology. So the way I look at it in my head when I'm trading, if I'm long, I want to see more green outline candles. I want to see more buyers and sellers in the market. And if I'm short, I want to see red outline candles. And then we have the wicks inside the candles, and I'll explain to you about those in a minute. Okay? So triple screen assessment means we want to see order flow going in the same direction on 3 time frames. That's what it means. So I put a screenshot of our charts up here just to show you how clean and easy our charts are to read. All our indicators are represented by these colored lines on the bottom. And then we have our modified Laguerre oscillator, and I'll explain to all that, right? So let's keep going. So the second powerful force that moves price is triple screen assessment of the Laguerre for momentum and our hybrid candles. So again, triple screen assessment is 3 time frames going in the same direction on a modified Laguerre. And the wicks. So the wicks are, and we're the only one that shows the wicks inside of a Renko bar. So when you have a wick that opens from the previous candle close, goes up the bar size, and then the next candle opens from the previous close, goes up the bar size, these are momentum wicks. When you have a long wick, this is a pullback wick, and we use these wicks for our advantage. And I'll explain to you how in a little bit. Any questions? If you have questions, put them in the questions box. Rory is answering a bunch of them. We have like almost 150 people here this afternoon. So ask away, okay? We're here to answer. All right, so the modified Laguerre is we took all these indicators and we added an algorithm to them, and we developed what we call our modified Laguerre. Now, the modified Laguerre is an oscillator, but it does not show divergence like other oscillators. It shows strength of trend. So when the modified Laguerre is being represented by the bottom line, the bottom colored line. So when it crosses below 20, it will turn red. And when it crosses back above 20 and is sloping up, it will be lime green. And when it crosses over 80, it will turn dark green. And when it crosses below and is sloping down, it will be orange. Ultimately, we want to see it pinned at 100 and pinned at 0. So we get our acceleration dots. All right, let's keep moving on. Right? Now we're going to talk about our quant lines. Right? And that's the third powerful force that moves price. So what do our quant lines do? They're examining 28 market components, and they're examined by our AI system for correlation. Now, most people understand and know what correlation means. I mean, it's pretty self-explanatory by its name, correlation, correlating, right? So let's say you have the ES going up, the RTY going up, NQ going up, and YM going up. You don't realize how powerful that is, that all the markets are going in the same direction. But another example would be, let's say you have ES going up and you have NQ going down, YM going down, and RTY going down. What do you think is going to happen to ES? It's either going to stop, consolidate, or it's just going to turn around and follow the rest of the markets. Right? So this is very powerful stuff, and most people don't pay attention to it, but we do. You know, it's like the old saying, a rising tide floats all boats. Well, it's kind of the same way in the market. When all the indexes are going the same direction, they're all rising boats. So we decided that, you know what, 3 time frames in agreement is really not enough to give us a solid foundation, a solid trend. So we added another time frame, and we put an indicator together that adds another time frame, and it's called the C2 indicator. And all it does is just add another time frame. And the C2 indicator is represented by this stair-stepping line above the candles, green going up, dark red going down. So I'm kind of building into the whole system and be taking piece by piece, and then we'll put it all together. Oh, there it is, putting it all together. Is easier than you think. So the money flow tracker trading system, the rules and the setups. First rule, if you have a colored background, means that you have 3 time frames in agreement, right? So you need a colored background, either green or dark pink. The next thing is you need the C2 indicator, so you have 4 time frames in agreement, and that's the stair-stepping line above the candles. The third rule is we have a solid line and a dot dash line. We always want to see the solid line hugging the candles, and you want to see the dot dash line on the other side. So going up, you want to see it, the solid line above the dot dash line, and going down, you'll see it below. If you run into a pivot, higher time frame support or resistance, support or resistance zone, the VWAP, whatever you have that could give you resistance or support, you must wait until 3/4 of the body of the unirangle bar close above the pivot, and then you must wait for a pullback candle. And I'll explain to you why you wait for the pullback candle in a little bit. All right, so you need both quants. So we have the short-term and the long-term quant. You need them in agreement. Right? You need the multiple time frame Laguerre in agreement with the quants, and you need the modified Laguerre in agreement with the quants, and you need to have it pinned at 100 or pinned at 0 to get the acceleration dots. So here's the setup, here's the trade, 63 ticks. Now, how do we exit the trade? Well, if we get stopped out on while we're trailing, then we'll exit that way. But ultimately, we try to exit when a dot dash line changes color from green to yellow, green to red, red to yellow, red to green. Okay, we have in our strategy that we use for entering and exit trades, exit on line change, and that's what that means. So this is what I tell everybody, that trading with the money flow tracker rules and only taking qualified setups will keep you out of choppy, non-trending markets, which usually leads to losses. And like I said earlier, that's where most traders lose money, in choppy, non-trending markets. So remember one thing, it's okay not to trade every day. I use this analogy in the room all the time. It's like a lion in a field, and in the distance, he sees its prey. Well, what does the lion do? It takes its patience and it moves closer and closer and closer. And when it gets the opportunity, it pounces on its prey. And so that's what we do. We watch the markets and we watch the markets. And as soon as we get our setup, a qualified setup, we pounce on it. And we just keep it so simple. The simpler you keep it, the better you trade. So here's the trade that I took on CL. Now, the market came down, got this pullback candle here, really fast pullback. Then I got another pullback. So I entered the trade on the pullback candle. My first profit target is 10 ticks. So CL is $10 a tick. That's $100. My second profit target, exit on line change, was 55 ticks. So this whole trade was 650 ticks, and I trade usually 5 or 6 accounts. I believe that day I was trading 6 accounts. So that was like a $4,000 trade. All right. So any questions before I keep moving on? I appreciate Rory answering them all, but I'd like to answer a couple. All right. So the money flow tracker software gives you clear and exact entries, clear and exact exits, exit on line change, and you get all your targets pre-configured with all your ATMs. So now I'm going to teach you how I trade breakouts with the money flow tracker and sidestep a lot of losing trades. And I call it the pull back and go strategy. So let me go ahead and I just got a pen pad. So because I can't draw with a mouse, let me go ahead and grab my pen and let me make this color and let me see if I can do this without no practice. All right. So here we go. All right. So kind of weird. So the market's coming down, right? You have a pivot here and you have higher time frame support here, right? It breaks. You get the pullback candle right here. As this candle's pulling back about halfway, right? Then we place our order to sell on down close. Now, what happens? Let's say this candle closes up. It's kind of weird drawing with a thing. Anyways, this candle closes up, this order will get automatically canceled. Simple as that. And so why do we look at this? Okay, let me get rid of these lines. Come on. Oh, you can't put that there. All right, so let me erase these drawings. Okay. So let's say that this candle closes up, right? The trade gets canceled, right? Goes away, right? Well, you know that a lot of when the markets come down and break support, they tend to retest it before they continue on down, right? But what happens if the market doesn't retest it and just goes up like this, right? That's when this order gets canceled automatically if this candle closes up. And when that happens, we call it sidestepping a losing trade. And it happens quite a bit. And we sidestep a lot of losing trades by using this strategy. Also, we might miss a trade here and there because we don't get the pullback candle in time. And that's okay. I'd rather miss a trade here and there and sidestep a lot of losing trades on top of it. So let's keep going. Okay, so here's another one. Here's one on RTY, broke the pivot, 3/4 of bar, got the pullback, first profit target, second profit target. Here's another one on crude oil. Here's two of them on the Canadian dollar. All right, now let's talk about the money flow tracker software and the auto trader, right? The auto trader is called, the auto trading strategy is called the Revolutions. We call it Revo for short. So what does it do? Well, it took this trade here for 704 ticks. It took this trade here for 665 ticks. It took this trade here for 1,016 ticks. This is the most ticks I've ever made on a trade. I took this trade here for 792 ticks. So what does it do? It does this. I'm going to open up the strategy so I can show you the settings. I have a screenshot, but it's much easier for me to show you in the strategy than a screenshot. So remember the rules we just went over, right? Okay, I'm just put it on this one, doesn't matter. What were the rules? We want the bias, which is the background color, and the C2. So we turned it on. This does not wait for a pullback candle. So I have the signal delayed by 1 bar because I want the whole bar to clear the pivot. I just don't want 3/4 of the bar. We want the Laguerre, either red or green, so we turn it on. We want the multiple time frame Laguerre, red or green, right? The volume threshold I don't worry about because MNQ trades plenty of volume. The 50 and the 50, we want red or green, all this other stuff here. The MA diff, 350, and I'll explain to you what the MA diff is in a little bit. So we wanted to clear the pivots. We wanted to clear the volume zones, which are the higher time frame support resistance. And we want the quants, red or green. Now the first target is a very important number. Why? Because our first target is 80 ticks, but it has to go to 81 ticks to get a fill. So for instance, on this screenshot behind right here, if there isn't at least from here to here, 81 81 ticks, right? If there's not at least 81 ticks there, it will not take the trade. It will not take the trade. It will pass on the trade and wait until it breaks the resistance. So that's why this number is very important. It has, you can have it go on and go off whenever you want. It has built-in risk management. So we have lots of people that signed up for the Money Flow Tracker software just for the Revolution's Auto Trader because they still work and they just want to be able to set it in the morning and when they come home, you know, either made a profit or lost money, or they maybe didn't even take a trade that day. So what I tell them to do is set your profit limit to 1,000, set your session loss to 500, which is basically 2 to 1, right? And then just turn it on and just let it do its thing. And if you're in a trade and it's up, let's say 1,500, it's not going to close the trade at 1,000. But once it closes the trade, it won't take another trade for the day. But the session loss limit is once you're down 500, it's done. It's closing the trade. Right? So it has built-in money management. Let me show you what let me see here. So this was the equity curve for 2021 and 2022, and I lost all my data for 2023, but here's the data from last year for 2024. Is we did roughly about $44,000 last year just with the Revo Auto Trader. That is amazing. So this was a trade that I took, and I hit my first profit target like within a minute. And so I quickly turned on my recording because I felt like this might be one of those big trades and I wanted to share it. So I already hit my first profit target. My stop goes to break even. So I'm going to go forward. We're up 345 ticks. We're up 483 ticks. We're up 528 ticks. Now, I'm going to stop it here. Stop. Okay. You see this number here, it says MA diff, 417. So when the MA diff gets over 350, that's when I start trailing my stop. The MA diff is showing us how far away from the market, how far away from the 50 is price. So let's just keep going. So I kept following, moving my stop. I'm up 570, I'm out at 576. So what did I do? $80 on the first 2 micros, 570 on the second, $650 on this trade. And all I did was turn it on. Okay, let's keep going. All right, so how to pass the evaluations. 1 second. All right, I think I can get through this part. I have an AC guy here coming to service my unit. He just pulled up in front, but it's raining outside. All right, I live in Central Florida. All right, so this is what it, don't focus on the carrot. What do I mean by that? Don't focus on how much money you could make. Focus on the process. Focus on trading well. Focus on your system. You know, I have 2 friends that work in the financial industry. One is a floor trader, one works at a brokerage firm. My friend John, that's the floor trader, he tells me all the time, I talk to him, he said, do you think that professional floor traders are worrying about how much money they can make? I said, I don't know. You tell me. He said, no, they don't. They worry about their risk. They're risk managers, okay? They're more worried about how much they can lose. And if you are more concerned about your risk, the profits will take care of themselves. Okay, so it really has nothing to do with your methodology. It has what's in between your ears is the biggest problem. Because most of the challenges or evaluations or wherever your firm calls them are really designed to make you fail because of how many trading days to pass and the trailing drawdown, which is the biggest one. So, you know, This is my process. If you think that you sign up for a $50,000 account, that you're trading a $50,000 account, that's totally wrong. And that's not the way to look at it. The way I look at it is I'm trading my drawdown. I have a $2,500 drawdown. I'm trading that. So my process when I'm trading is I don't risk any more than 10% of my drawdown on any one trade, which is $250. So on MNQ, I must trade micros. All right, 1 second, please. Sorry about that. I had to let the guy in the garage. You stop. Hey. Stop it. No. Okay. So I don't, when I trade MNQ, or I must trade MNQ, because if I traded 2 contracts on NQ, that's a 40 tick stop. That goes over my risk, my max risk per trade. So, your win rate versus your reward rate. So if you're a 1-to-1 trader, you need to be at least 60% profitable in order to make money. But if you're a 2-to-1 trader, that drops drastically, which means you could be wrong 6 out of 10 trades and still make money. So I'm up close to a 3-to-1 trader, so I don't really worry about it. And I'm a 70% win rate. And believe me, I was a very frustrated, struggling trader for a long time until I came in and the webinar that Mark Sachs did, and I learned about the money flow tracker software. And since then, for the last 4.5 years, it's all I've been trading with and doing very well. So rather than avoid risk, take intelligent risk, and this will give you that competitive edge, just like this little mouse. Now he's saying, I want that piece of cheese, but I'm aware of my risk of that thing flopping over and hit me in the head. So what did he do? He put on his helmet. Okay, that's intelligent risk. So look, I've showed you everything about the money flow tracker software. I've showed you my trade results. I've showed you the order trader. So now you have 2 choices. Your first option would be, if you're making money and you're consistent, then God bless you and keep doing what you're doing. But if you were doing that, you wouldn't be here. So the second option would be take action today and join the thousands of traders. We basically work from 9 to 11. Okay, that's basically the time that we trade. So the money flow tracker software, benefits and features. It's easy to learn. The workspaces are very intuitive. It's perfect for beginners. I wish I had this when I was a beginner. I would have saved a small fortune. It's perfect for any account size. I have traders that just trade a couple of micros and they're happy with that. And then I have a couple guys that trade 100 to 200 contracts at a time. And they're good with that, and it's perfect for any account size. You could trade it on anything that you have you can put a chart on, futures, forex, stocks. You can trade options with the stock signals. So for the first 10 traders that come aboard today, we have some powerful additional software as quick action bonus. First thing you'll get is the market scanner, which is a $9.99 value. Here's my market scanner. Now mine's set up to Renko bars. So for instance, on gold, we trade a 4-10-20 bar. So obviously the markets are flat because today's a holiday. But just because you have a sell here, let's say on this bar side as an example, Doesn't mean that you have a setup. It means go look at the chart and see what's going on. Next thing you'll get is the NDT. Now, this is what we use to enter our trades. And this is where you would set your setting to exit on line change. This is a $14.99 value. You'll get this as part of your package. You'll get the Masterclass series on futures, Forex, stocks, and options. And these are really good. I've watched them a bunch of times. You'll get 1 month in my trade room. Now, our trade rooms were done part of a study by this Dr. Allen, and he reviewed more than 225 trading websites, and he evaluated them using several factors, including their transparency, proven track record, and assisting traders with educational materials and online support. And we came out on top. And this was published in Traders World and Stock and Commodities Magazine. So this is the offer that we're doing. We're giving a 50% discount across all subscriptions, which is, if you want to do a quarterly, it's $11.94, 50% is $5.97. If you do an annually, it's $23.94, 50% is $11.97. And lifetime, the only difference between the quarterly and annually and lifetime is you get 3 months in my trade room. On a lifetime, you only get 1 month on the quarterly and annually. That's it. That's the difference, right? So if you want to subscribe, all you need to do is go to your GoToWebinar chat window, not the questions window, the chat window. There's a link in there. You click on the link, it will bring you to this site. Scroll down here, and you want to sign up for yearly. Click on sign up. Okay, you don't need a coupon code. It's already been applied with the link. Then you go down here, you can see $23.94. You get all the extra bonuses. There's your 50% discount. I hate that thing. Here's your 50% discount. You're going to be paying $11.97. And then next year, when you renew next year, you're going to pay $11.97 also. We're going to keep you at the same rate as our discounted rate now. So I think that's a really great deal. Less than $100 a month, you could be trading with the Money Flow Tracker software. So if you're interested, you can go there and sign up, right? So here's my commitment to you when you sign up is to help you become a successful trader. Remember, if you're not successful, it's not your fault. Again, if you're not successful, it's not your fault. You're just not using the right tools to be successful. You know, I use this analogy because most people can understand it. It's like trying to pound a nail into a piece of wood with a screwdriver. Yeah, you know, the longer you hit it, you'll eventually get it in there. But if you use the hammer, a couple blows with the hammer and the job is done. So, you know, the Money Flow Tracker software is totally unique and will give you that edge to trade with institutional order flow. So my commitment to you again is to teach you not just about reading the setups. Reading the setups is the easiest part. I can teach a 5-year-old to read the setups, maybe even younger than that, right? But it's more to help you develop that mental mindset you must have. You know, trading is what kind of skill does trading take? You don't have any physical skill, it's just pushing your button, right? That's it. It's a mental thing. It's FOMO, fear of missing out. It's, should I take this trade? I don't know, because maybe this one will be a loser. And I don't get, you know, and then you don't take that trade and that trade was a big winner, and then you take the next trade and that trade was a loser. So you have to take every setup when it shows. Okay, let's keep going here. So if you have any questions and you would like to speak with us, hold on a second, Roy's sending me a message. He says a few people already just signed up, they just came in, and if anybody wants to put their name and their phone number in the questions box and ask any further questions, he will give you all the bonuses no matter how many we sell. Okay, well, that's great, we'll do that. If you have any questions and you would like to speak with us further, put your name and your phone number in the questions box and we will give you a call after the webinar. Okay, you have no obligation to purchase. We're not going to call you 50,000 times. I hate when people do that. If you say you're not interested, you're not interested. Okay? Maybe one day you will be interested. All right? So again, so look, we know that it's a well-known fact that 95, 98% of day traders or swing traders are losing money. Just like this guy here, he's a retail trader, and he might as well just flush his money down the toilet. You know, my friend Steve that works at a brokerage firm, you know what they call retail traders? The guppies. He says, you know, when a guppy opens up an account with $10,000, he says, we love it. I said, you love it? Why? He said, because we know that money is going to be gone within a few weeks or a month. They're going to lose that money because that's what retail traders do. So if retail traders lose money, why do we want to trade with them? We don't. Our traders are trading with institutional order flow. We're just following the whales that are eating the guppies, right? And we're making money because we trade with institutional order flow. Okay, Frederick, I mentioned the auto trader. We do use the auto trader also in the room. Okay, we traded on a lot. I'll show you the chart here. We traded on a very large bar side, a 24.60-120 Unirenko. All right, as a matter of fact, here's a couple of trades today. Even though the markets were closed, there were a few trades. So look, here's a trade here, right? And this line didn't change color here. It stayed red until here, changed color, 343 ticks. Okay, so we run the MNQ swing trade every day in the room, and we manual trade the smaller time frames. Okay. All right, so again, here's our special. We're doing 50% off. So it's $597 for a quarterly, $1197 for the yearly, and $1997 for a lifetime license. Okay. Now this is a reel of a bunch of our traders, testimonials, people that some of them I've trained, some of them. But this particular woman has a friend of mine in my trade room, and she wanted to learn how to trade, but he didn't really want to teach her how to trade because he didn't want to be responsible, and I can understand that if she didn't do well. So he told her to contact Mark. So she did. And Mark sat her down in front of a computer. As I said, Mark taught me things, right? Sat her in front of a computer, taught her to set up, said, when you have a green background and all this is lined up, I want you to click on buy and up close. And the opposite way on the downside. So she did that for 4 months. And to make a long story short, now she's a six-figure trader. And I spoke to her on the phone and I asked her, do you trade every day? And she says to me just like this. She says, no, Mr. David, if I don't have no setup, I don't take no trade. Period. That's it. Come here, you. Come on. Come here. It's thundering and lightning and the dog is kind of scared. All right. So this is a testimonial that was just put in Trustpilot, and it by Barry, a trader that does really well. And he says, I've been trading for 25 years, and I can honestly say the money flow says it's one of the smartest tools I've added to my toolbox. The layout of a single chart gives me everything I need in a glance. Bearish, bullish, volume, blah, 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 blah. Anyways, here's a guy that's so happy he wrote us a great testimonial on Trustpilot. Now, there's an email that was sent in by a guy that was in a webinar just like you were, and his name is David also, David P. And he sent me this message in the questions box in the webinar. He goes, I am the world's worst trader. I need a lot of help. So to make a long story short, I spoke to him on the phone. He ended up subscribing to the software. Like he writes here, I started watching David's Trading Room every morning, learned the trading methodology, and more important, the rules for trading. We only take trades on specific setups. When we follow the rules, we have about a 70% win rate. I now have 7 accounts at Apex and 7 accounts at Bullnox. Well, right now I know he has 20 accounts at Apex, 10 accounts at Bullnox, and a few accounts at some other places, right? Then he goes on to saying the money flow tracker software, along with David's methodology and rules for trading, allow me to act like a robot and eliminate any guesswork or emotions from my trading. We also use the NDT, which I just showed you, which allows us a single push button to enter trades when we see the correct setup, following the rules. He looks at it every day as simple. See the setup, push the button, see the setup, push the button, see the setup, push the button. Now he took it and he made it super simple for himself. If he has a setup, he pushes the button. If he doesn't have a setup, he doesn't push the button. So then, like 2 weeks ago, he sends me this message in the questions box in the room, and it says $4,265, trading only 4 accounts today. I could ring the bell, and he left the room and he was done trading for the day. So in less than an hour, he made $4,265, $4,265. Not a bad day at all. So again, this is our what we're giving as far as our promotion. So I would definitely recommend, if you are interested, to take advantage of this. Hold on a second. Rory's just sending me a message. Rory says, I want you to congratulate Mark, Greg, Celia, Barbara, Jose, and Hugo. Welcome, you guys. I really look forward to working with and coaching in the room and getting you up and running and helping you achieve what your financial independence from trading. I love teaching new traders. I really do. First thing I tell them is forget everything you know. Forget everything you know and just listen to what I'm telling you. And don't have an opinion. So again, if you put your name and your phone number, if you have any more questions to ask, we will give you a call after the webinar, and you can ask as many questions as you want. You have no obligation. If you prefer to do your purchase over the phone, we can do that too. Alrighty, that's it. That's all I got. Any questions? I know Roy's been his fingers must be killing him because he's been answering all the questions and there's been a ton of them. But you know what? I was able to keep the webinar within an hour, which is what I usually like to do. Yes, you will get a recording of this webinar, probably a little later this afternoon. So I just want to thank everybody for attending and listening to my presentation. I am very, very passionate about trading. Very. I love trading. I love teaching people to trade and seeing their success. So I want to wish everybody a happy Juneteenth, because we celebrate this here in the US. We have traders from all over the world to trade with us. So have a great day, morning, afternoon, evening, depending where you're located. And I really appreciate you listening to my presentation. I look forward to working with each and every one of you in my trade room. Take care and bye-bye.